at international level. 5 goals in 13 appearances, 3 assists as well. Of course, just the 1 goal for Real Madrid. How do you feel, Don, when you see that?
Do you know, I know Robert Page quite well, Dan, and he's fortunate that he's got Gareth Bale because he only sees him, you know, once every couple of months. When I heard Ancelotti do an interview a couple of weeks back and he talked about not picking Gareth Bale in big games, and Ancelotti said, and rightly so, he said, well, when I turn up for training on a Monday, Gareth Bale's not out in the grass. On a Tuesday, he's not on the grass. He went Wednesday, he's swimming or he's on the bike. Thursday, he's not on the grass. Friday, he has a little sort of 7-a-side. I can't pick him. Where Robert Page has got the luxury, because he's a world-class player for Wales, he can more or less say to Gareth Bale, don't worry about training. Don't worry about me giving you a schedule. You tell me what you want to do. You tell the analysis guys and the coaching guys what you want to do. Is it swimming? Is it on the bike? Do you want to rest? Tell me when you feel ready to play close to 90 minutes. I think you've done 85 tonight. Tell me when we can get the best out of you, because it's pointless training Gareth Bale every single day, because he then won't be match fit, or he won't sort of last 90 minutes. He'll take a knock and he won't be fit. So Robert Page is a smart man, and he's just putting it on the player, just saying, listen, you tell me, you're experienced, you know you want to play in the very biggest of games, and what chances have we got with you at getting to a World Cup? You tell us when you want to train. So he's got that luxury where Carlo Ancelotti hasn't, and I think he's using it quite well, Robert Page. It's really, really good man management.
It's a completely different thing, international football to club football. And Gareth Bale is not the first and won't be the last guy who won't be playing with his club team, but will play international football. You know, international managers will always rely on the people that have produced for them. And that's why Gareth Bale, number one, is always playing. But number two, we can't kid ourselves. It's unfortunate that the last 2.5, 3 years maybe, Gareth Bale has made us question his motives for playing in Madrid. And unfortunately, it's carried through now as far as we're concerned to the international field. But Gareth Bale, for what he's done for Wales over his career, absolutely has earned the right to turn up for Wales and say, I need to do the bike today, or I won't be on the grass today. The complete opposite of what Ancelotti's saying. He has earned that right. And Robert Page knows from previous experience, when Gareth Bale has done that for Wales, he has produced. So you're never going to question it.
As a former professional, is it hard to swallow the contrast in his domestic form compared to international?
Yes, absolutely. You know, I think we tend to forget. We forget how difficult it is and how privileged we are to be, number one, to play professional football, but number two, to be so good that you're playing right at the very top for a decade or more. And so, for somebody who has struggled to maybe even turn professional or even get close to being it, even to get sat on a bench somewhere, when they look at Gareth Bale today and see him playing golf in Madrid and not playing and picking up a Champions League winner's medal for sitting on his backside, it is difficult to swallow.
Don?
I agree, but I think he's got to a stage in his career where I think his body's starting to let him down. And what I mean by that is, as I touched on before, he can't train like he did 5-10 years ago. So it's unfortunate that you're watching a Gareth Bale who can't train every single day. I've been there in my career, Dan, where you can't train every day. You're trying to manage your body. You're having injections. You're taking, you're taking tablets. You're taking painkillers just to try and survive, just to try and get to match day. I think with Gareth Bale, there's something a little bit different in there. I'm not sure about his appetite and how much he ever really wanted to play for Real Madrid over the last 18 months. It felt a little bit sour, as Stevie said. The banner was just an absolute disaster. That was a PR disaster. And you can blame it on anyone else, but he knew what he was doing. But you know, when you look at the sort of facts in the 9 years that he's been at Real Madrid, I mean, he's been an unbelievable player for them. The amount of trophies that he's won for them. I just think in his time, in his career, in his life now, he's leaning towards playing more international football than he is club football. The interesting thing will be where he goes at the start of next season, and can he go through a pre-season, and can he play the number of games leading up to November's World Cup? That's going to be fascinating. who takes him on and where he plays.
Well, that's it. And that leads us nicely into the next question. Gareth Bale obviously is now a free agent. There was speculation that maybe if they didn't make it to the World Cup, he was going to retire or come to MLS. What would you do, Stevie, if he rang you up and said, what should I do?
Go somewhere where you're going to play. That's the only... To me, the problem is going to be, and I don't know Gareth Bale, but to me, looking from the outside, I think his biggest problem is going to be his ego.
Does he need to play?
Of course he needs to play.
But he hasn't played, has he? He hasn't played for Real Madrid. Is there any sort of world that we can live in where he can just train and get himself perfectly ready for November, as opposed to saying, signing for Cardiff, let's say, in the Championship, where you're going to play, but you're going to get kicked, you're going to have to train hard, your body is going to be on the line every single time you step across the line.
He's 32, by the way. Let's not forget he's 32.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a 36 or a 37-year-old. Yeah. So there's plenty of them still playing at the top, by the way.
Right.
Particularly Benzema at his club.
Yes.
Every single thing about being a professional player, regardless of what it is, the answer to that question, or the sensible one, would be yes.
Right.
You have to play. You have to train. You have to work hard. You have to get your body in condition to play. But right now, every single thing he's doing that everybody would say is wrong is working for him and for Wales.
Right.
So it's difficult to argue, because that'll be thrown straight in your face. Well, he's not doing it now, but guess what? He's a superstar for Wales. But yes, he has to go and he has to play. And as I said, the problem is his ego. Will his ego let him go to Cardiff? Just forget what league it is. Just get playing, because the end goal is the World Cup. But if his ego gets in the way and he wants to be in the Premier League, then he might end up doing the same as he's been doing, just training every day and sitting on his backside.
Would you want him?
If I'm Cardiff, yeah. Not if I'm in the Premier League, no.
No, not at all.
Well, there's nothing. Why would you? He's played 20 minutes for Real Madrid this year, something stupid like that. He went to Tottenham and hardly kicked the ball. So what is there to suggest that anything's going to change in the Premier League, regardless of what team it is?
People will throw at you that he went to Spurs and he did score goals. He did get on the score sheet.
Well,
he did contribute.
He did contribute. Can you tell me who they were against?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, was it the fourth goal in a 4-0 win, or was it an FA Cup against Marine?
Yeah.
So, I mean, seriously, no.
Yeah.
No, you're not putting your reputation as a manager on the line for a guy who you have no idea whether he's going to actually be able to play any games.
What do you do, Don?
What, if you're Gareth Bale?
Yeah.
Don't go into the Championship. Do not go into the Championship. I was in the Championship when I was 25 and I loved it because it's Saturday, Tuesday. It's relentless. His body at 32 is not built for the Championship anymore. I heard Stevie saying there about 32, but there's a lot of mileage in Gareth Bale where you can get someone like, Benzema, who looks after himself and has been injury-free, where his age is like a 32-year-old, 31-year-old, where Gareth Bale's 32, but he's also got the body and the legs and the knees, ankles of a 35-year-old. He can't go into the Championship. So what Gareth Bale's got to do, he's got to have the conversation with the manager, like I said before, who, when you speak to the manager, if you're Gareth Bale, you've got to be upfront and honest and say to that manager, listen, there's going to be days where I cannot train. I literally can't.
So if we're not going Championship, we're going Premier League then, Don. And basically, if you're a manager,
Dan, if you think of what Christian Eriksen's done for Brentford, I can see a scenario like that. I can see if you've got a good manager like Thomas Frank who trusts Christian Eriksen, who they've worked together before, and they've got that relationship. Has Gareth Bale got that
different
relationship to a manager in the Premier League? Where I know, but the reputation and what I'm trying to say is, if Gareth Bale can have the conversation with the manager and say to the manager, I will come and sign for you, but you're going to have to trust me. There's going to be days where I can't train. I want to train, but I can't train. But I will be there on a Saturday for you. I can play match days. I can't train 4 or 5 days a week. He's got to find that relationship, and there's not going to be many managers that will buy that, unfortunately.
But added to that, Donald, isn't there an issue as well? You're only really getting him for 3 months.
True, exactly. And then everything then comes into it. How much does he want? Is he going to take a pay cut on his wages? Will he go into the Championship, and will he play for Cardiff? Well, I think that's a team that he supports, but go on about 10 grand a week, 20 grand a week. I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking. It might be the best thing for Gareth Bale to go MLS for 2 or 3 months, or stay in Spain and have the sun on your back and try and have some good living. And as you said, Dan, Gareth Bale at the moment is a contradiction, because everything about what me and Stevie know about the game is you've got to be fit, you've got to train. There's no way you can play in a World Cup if you're not playing. Gareth Bale's proved that not playing at Real Madrid and still keeping fit for Wales, for him, is the best thing to do.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN+.